These are over 100 different Ninjago Dragons Rising minifigures. There are a ton of different characters and even more different outfits. But there's a catch. There simply aren't enough. You see, in the TV show, there are so many more characters, from snails over chins to villains, all the way to super villains. And LEGO obviously missed out on a few. That's why I'm challenging myself to take 10 of the most important characters and make them as LEGO minifigures. Let's start with the first one. And with the merge, also new members came to the ninja team. But not all of them are training. Some of them just help keeping the monastery clean. But come on, not like this! We need a different keeper of the monastery. We need Mr. Alfonso Frohicky. And the first step to make him is to get some matching parts. I'll use dual molded legs as a base, then grab any spare black torso and a scarf, and combine them. This doesn't look like Frohicky, so let's see if I can make him any better. Okay, that's a little too blocky, so I'm gonna make my own head with FIMO. And as you can see, I managed to capture all the small details Frohicky offers. I didn't even miss out on the 2 nostrils. Now let's paint that juicy head. First the green, and once this is done, I'll add the skin-toned lower jaw, and finally the orange eyes. I'll even add those small dark green markings on his forehead, and Frohicky can serve Saint some ice-cold eyes. Oh, wait, I forgot Saint can produce ice. Where's the assistant keeper of the monastery? But maybe Frohicky can become better if we make him fully accurate. For this, I'll detach every other part of his torso and reattach an unimportant red leg piece to make the painting process easier. And first let me make some basic lines with a pencil before I'm starting out with light gray. Next up is dark brown and all these other super small details, like 1,000 patches and stitches on his torso and arms. Wow, this takes forever! Why did they have to add so many stitches? And finally, we don't need this assistant anymore. We now have a frog that can distinguish whether this is Sora or a bunch of cherry tree leaves. As additional accessories, I gave him the ice bucket and an insect to eat. But the original keeper didn't like being left out. So he swore to take revenge and went over hill and dale to find Lord Ras and join his ranks to defeat that traitor. However, this Lord Ras from the Shadow Dojo and the following Ras are inaccurate. Just as in the first season, they didn't add teeth. So the second and third minifigure I'll fix are the second and third outfit of Lord Ras. Boom! I low-key already feel like I'm in a video game locker. Except that LEGO forgot to add Ras' nose. That's why he'd suffocate. Quick, revive him! No use. Without a nose, he can't breathe. I guess Aaron will never find his parents. Unless I paint Lord Ras' nose. Much better. I'd say we killed 2 birds with 1 stone.
Double kill.
And Ras is finally ready to recruit more soldiers into his army. And one very important member of his army is Cinder, because he's an elemental master. And when their soul is shattered, they can perform shatter spin. Well, should be able, but with this chunk of armor, I truly understand why it isn't possible. And the armor is even used on the second Cinder minifigure as well. So...
Double kill.
Because I can create 2 minifigures at once. And the most important thing is to create 2 accurate armor pieces and reattach them to the 2 different Cinder minifigures. Cinder literally has a wardrobe to choose from right now. But one piece I must remove from the wardrobe again, the ghost legs. Those never appear in the show. Instead, he is wearing pants, which LEGO never made. So I'll take a brand new pair of pearl grey jeans and paint them. Now I can restock Cinder's wardrobe with a new pair of smoke jeans. If I now also equip him with the armor piece, we get an almost finished Cinder. The icing on the cake though is to exchange his left arm with a pearl grey one, switch his hands to dark grey and shatter his soul to make his eyes red. And finally, we can perform real shatter spin. And it's already time for minifigure number 6, another elemental master under the command of Lord Ras, Frak, the master of Quake. But finally, we got someone who will join the ninjas. You see, in Aaron's youth, Frak was his best friend, and they used to play ninja with an old goon as their enemy. But recently, Eren felt betrayed by his other best friends and Sensei Wu, who is currently a ghost and custom merch. Oops! Yeah, I'll just let my nephew figure this out. Thanks, uncle. Yeah. Not exactly trustworthy, I gotta admit. And since Ras knows where Eren's parents are, Eren decides to switch sides for his own interests and starts kicking his friends' butts. Frak instead wants to quit Ras and join the ninja team. However, Ras absolutely doesn't like this and instantly gives the Keeper the command to sabotage my plans of making Frak. Now go! So let's just start and see what the Keeper is up to. I'll start with pearl grey legs, which I got from the Crystal King, and a pearl grey torso. For this one, I snuck into Cinder's wardrobe and got a spare one of his. Just don't tell him. I also gave him a new armor piece. It's just that it doesn't fit and has the wrong shape. So I have to figure out the solution ASAP, because this looks absolutely whack. And I took some inspiration from the armor of a pyro destroyer. They added something like a gap, which means I can just cut away a section of the armor. That way, the head fits perfectly again. But the armor is still inaccurate, so I will also add some FIMO to make it look accurate. To round it off, I will give the entire shoulder blade some color and we can move on to the second piece, the head. But the cobra head is like a giraffe. Yet, Frak is like a giraffe with no neck. So basically a horse, which means I somehow have to shorten this neck. So I'll quickly hop into Photoshop and test if shortening the cobra neck works. And since it seems like it works, I'll go into the workshop to test my theory firsthand. And it surprisingly worked out very well. I mean, the two pieces don't fit like a dream, but that's an easy fix. Next, I'll cover the grey parts in white as a foundation and then paint all of it neon green. I'll even paint an iris and a white light reflection on both eyes. And it's already time to paint the torso. However, when I was enjoying an ice cream and laughing about the Crystal King, the Keeper made his move. He switched the pearl dark grey parts with normal dark grey parts. Now I'm doing all of this tedious paint job on his pants for nothing. I mean, just look at how many details I'm adding. For nothing. But he sabotaged me even more, because now I just realized that I've used the wrong parts. But no, when I moved the legs, the entire paint job came off. Sorry, what's that? I guess I just have to repaint the entire legs once again. I just hope that was enough of a revenge on me for replacing him, but I've got a bad feeling that it wasn't. Lucky me, he had to report his progress and is currently being lectured by Lord Ras for failing to stop me from making Frak's legs. So it shouldn't be too much of a problem for me to sneak back into Cinder's wardrobe and get another torso to finish Frak. The purple belt should actually be mirrored. But I'll just ignore that. Instead, I'll only paint the purple robe. Now Frak is completed and he can betray his master and join the ninja. Luckily, Ras doesn't only rely on elemental mastery. He also has an entire army. However, when he wants to shatter their minifigures, nothing happens once again. Is there supposed to happen something? So my 7th and 8th minifigure are going to be the two Wolfmask Warriors. I'll fix both, the blue and the red version, because both are inaccurate. Well, actually only the masks are inaccurate when they're activated. So I'll paint those small lines that show that the mask has indeed been activated. This is a pretty tedious task, but definitely worth it. I mean, just look at the before and after. Yet, to paint all of the masks would simply take forever. But I guess one mask per army is enough for now. And Ras now has 2 armies at the ready. Well, actually only one. The other one got corrupted by Jordana, aka Rox, and knocked. For Jordana, I also made a custom armor piece, but I'm not gonna count her towards the 10 customs. She's a neat extra. And if we're talking about Noct, he's the last and most valuable member of Lord Ras' army. Or, well, so he thinks. But Noct only managed to escape because Ras freed him by using Bonzle at the Blood Moon ritual. Bonzle, however, was never made by LEGO, so Noct in theory cannot exist in the LEGO universe. So the 9th minifigure I'll make is Bonzle. Yup, her. I'll start with this legacy skeleton as a base, but since she doesn't have these markings, I'll remove them using some nail polisher and an eraser. The only thing left to do on the skeleton is to add 2 golden rings on her left arm. The next step is to create the orange vest. For this one, I'll grab a bit of white fabric and paint it all orange. And whilst the color is drying, I'll create the prototype out of paper, because now that the fabric dried, I can simply copy my sketch and I'm lightning fast. And painting the rest of the color is now really easy as well. But can anyone tell me why everyone has patched up clothes? Oh, come on. But I suppose in the end it's worth it. The result is pretty amazing. The last piece I have to create is the head. And here I once again have to remove the current face with nail polisher and an eraser. And I gotta admit, molding her head is probably the easiest thing I'm doing today. Well, not exactly, because painting it dark brown is actually even easier. But it gets difficult quite fast again with the face expression. I want to go with an indifferent face expression, because most of the time she appears quite distant from the reality. I mean, that also kind of makes sense, because after all, she's a spell. And like that, I finished Bonzle. And finally, we can resume the Blood Moon ritual. Trap Bonzle in that old wooden cage and then free knocked. Brilliant. Now Ross has an extremely strong army. He even managed to gain Chase loyalty. But with so many members to his army, also the ninjas could do with another ally. And among all those crazy elements that are controlled by the different elemental masters, I would say one of the coolest elements is definitely fusion. I mean, this is like the holy grail of a power to wish for when building Lego, because you can literally build sideways. Steve approves. So as our 10th minifigure, I'll make Chio, the elemental master of fusion. And I hope the keeper won't interfere, but I suppose he will. I'll start off by mixing an ice warrior with a gecko, but because Chio is a mix between gecko and Mans, I'll stretch his legs. I'll also give the minifigure a dark red scarf and a different hairstyle. But please, keep the gecko's head, we need it later on for the ears. But first, let's paint the face expression. First, I'll remove the current face expression, and then I'm gonna add the eyes and the mouth. Perfect. Now only the eyebrows remain. That can't be too hard, right? First fail. Second fail. I'm starting to think the keeper is involved. Third fail. Now I'm really certain. Fourth fail. I'll quit. For today at least. Instead, I'll finish the rest of the face.
One eternity later.
Alright, so it's the next day, and I've got an idea. I'll first sketch it out with a pencil. That should definitely work out better. Boom! Chio looks real good. Now I can separate the ears from the cap and then glue them to the head. And I'd say that looks pretty dang juicy. Next, I'll give Chio his scarf. But wait a minute! Shouldn't this scarf be... Yup! Definitely. Oh, this keeper! Anyways, I realized it just in time. I'll cut away this part of the scarf and replace it with a dark red patch of fabric. And the first part of Chio is finished. The next step is to make the torso and the legs. But because there are so many small details, I will not show you the creation process in detail. I mean, just look at this bracelet or this teeny tiny skull. These and many more details would take forever to explain. But please tell me if you want a detailed tutorial. What I'm wondering though is where the keeper is at. He should have made his ultimate move long ago. I suppose he's being brainwashed again. Literally. Comment if you think the keeper should look after the monastery instead of Frohicky. But I guess it's good for us, because I don't think he can stop me at making Chio's hair. Never jinx it. He switched the hairpiece right at the beginning. At least I've got the correct one here, so I'm pretty fast with finishing Chio. Keeper, you can't stop me. And who do you think will win at the moment? Ross with his army or the ninja? Well, Aaron is actually switching sides together with the keeper. If you think Ross wins, then tell me which ninja allies I should bring to life next. See ya!